For XML Auto is very similar to For XML Raw. You're going to notice that by default, there's no root element. By default, our columns become attributes. But the big difference between Auto and Raw is that each individual row's tag name matches the name of the table. So just like before, if I want to do elements instead of attributes, I do elements. If I want a root, I put in root. But if I want to change the name of the row, I alias the name of the table. If we come back over to the Management Studio, open up a real quick new little window, and we once again type out our little query, let's say select PC name from production product category. Again, just basic little select statement here. As PC, there we go. And I now add in my For XML Auto. What you're going to notice when I run this is that now each item is based off of the alias table name. So if I wanted that to be called something different, then what I would need to do is just make this something different. So if I wanted that to be maybe category, then I do as category. Make sure I fix this up top here. And now you'll notice that sure enough, it's now aliased. You'll also notice, just like before, that if I want a root, it's simply going to be root, and then maybe let's say categories. And then finally, last but not least, is our element. So let's just do them all in one shot here. Kind of already seen this. We'll go back to execute. We'll click on the link again, and now you'll notice that we've got a root element of categories, and you'll also notice that we've got each individual category with the name as an element. Cool. Now you might be wondering at this point, well then what's the big difference between XML Auto and XML Raw? Because really, outside of that one little thing, they're almost the same. Well, the biggest difference between Auto and Raw is how it handles joins. With Auto, when I join tables together, it's going to maintain a hierarchy. Now, the one little thing to note about this hierarchy that's going to be built is that the first column that's listed in the select statement is going to become the parent. Now, you'll also notice that with my elements option, every column is going to be placed inside of a hierarchy. Without it, one element will be created for each level, and the column values, again, are going to become attributes. Let's take a quick look at doing a join. Going to come back over here. Going to add in inner join, and let's say production product subcategory as subcategory on category ID equals subcategory product category ID. Now, what I want you to notice here is the fact that I am putting out long names here. Normally I would put in abbreviations, but now you'll notice I'm putting in long names. And the reason for that is because I'm just trying to work with my auto section. So now let's alias this real quick. Let's say as, and let's say category name, which, by the way, just like before with raw, if I want to change the name of the element, the attribute that's going to be used, that's the way that I do it. And then let's also go ahead and say subcategory name as, and let's say subcategory name. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave all the rest the way that it is, and I'm going to run this. And I want you to notice the big difference here is that unlike before, where we had everything flattened out, you'll notice that we've got our collections of categories, and then you're going to notice that our category is now going to contain all of the subcategories as well as the category name. So I've got my category, I've got my category name, and then you'll notice that I've got a section for each subcategory. I do want to show the difference without the element section. So what I'm going to do is just comment that out, kind of a very simple way to do that. And then let's hit execute. And now what you're going to notice is that I've got my category, category name, and then I've got my subcategory, and then all the names inside of there. So sort of a very nice way for me to be able to see my structure after a join. Just to reiterate one last time, this is the big difference between auto and raw. With raw, you'll notice that it flattened everything out. With auto, it gives me a hierarchy.